Accelerating digital innovation with a logical data strategy. This session is going to be by Mr. Anuj Budhiraja, Sales Director at Denodo. Mr. Anuj is responsible for Denodo's sales in North and East with the rich 22 years of work experience, steady high-performance career, strong information technology professional skilled in sales, large transformational projects, key accounts development, ISV, managed services, and OCI. Experience in setting up new businesses. So, sir, can we have you on stage with a huge round of applause, everyone?
Hello, everyone. Nice to have you here. I represent Denodo Technologies, and I'm going to take you through, what exactly the market space is and how we fit into the bill. So just coming to the, I think you already have quite a few many, select speakers, everyone talking about data and the data explosion. So coming into what kind of, what's the data reality in the enterprise as we see. That's something, very familiar. You all will be able to, relate to the kind of various sources from relational, NoSQLs, unstructured data, semi-structured data. And that's typically, we all have been, through with a spaghetti of point-to-point integration of based on your use cases, based on our various projects, as the management requirements are or as the business requirements are. Now it becomes too complex, at times to really sustain and then have all those areas we were talking about these kind of security and the volumes growing up. We all have moved to cloud now. Cloud is not just we all knew the benefits of cloud. But now I think most of us are reaching a stage where we again are looking at it and say, okay, fine, what's my data management cost per se? Am I really agile? I'm really, aligned to the business or the market needs. So what we are bringing in is, this is a typical, as your complexities are growing, as your business objectives are really, on a select scale where people are asking for, the customer experience is a center stage. You go to any industry, at the same time, when a customer, whether it's an internal select customer or it's external customer calling it, you certainly want to have a single pane of view of what's happening around that customer, right? If I have to give an example of a telco, so I want to see what's happening on my IT side and what's happening on my network side. And I'll be measured on what is my time to select my call resolution, the first call resolution. So those kind of, expectations are increasing with AI coming in, bots coming in. We have heard, some of the telcos really, taking away the kind of, IVR support for the prepaid customers. Someone really investing in the generative AI based on NVIDIA or something, where they're training their bots into the kind of, various languages. So this is where the business objectives are there. At the same time, the pressures are there. We know that data still exists in silos. The volumes are really increasing. I don't want to go through that. Lack of ownership is something, there's no, how do we really know the data lineage? How do we know the kind of source of data? From where this data is originating, whether this is the right data or this is not the right data, right? I know one of my consultant, he recently had a very, a good audit with one of the leading Indian banks. One particular customer ID appeared at 323 places within that bank. And this is a customer ID with your mobile number. Email ID was appearing in something like 200 odd places. The reason is everybody is consuming data, they are storing the data everywhere, and then we have all the other relative stuff going around. So what we are talking about, we're talking about a kind of logical data strategy, taking a, this something we've been there for last 23 years now. And if I say, just taking you through the kind of initial stages at how we evolved. So typically we all are aware, we started with the cubes, the data marts, when we talk about the operational data sources, when the reports were required, this is how we started with. And then came the advent of enterprise data warehouses, where we got the data warehouses, try to do a unified analysis. This is what I'll say 90s to 2000. And then post enterprise data warehouses came the approach, the moment we got the data lakes with your new type of data sources coming in. And now we are talking about the, something around the logical data strategy. We say, okay, hey, hold on, you already have invested in your data warehouses. You already have invested in your data lakes for that matter. You still are paying for that compute, that storage, the S3 or whatever cost. You're paying for the egress cost. Whatever your setup is here on-prem, it is still good. It still has got life of, say, whatever, 3 years, 2 years, whatever you have. You still are good with your analytics tool there, your visualization layer on the top of it. That's all there, So, how can we do? How can we stop this replication part, right? Even if when I walked into all of us, when we are here as speakers or as a presenters for this event, just have a look around. Select this PPT copy, which I would have shared or my marketing guy would have shared. It would have minimum select 14 or 15 replicas, existing in various laptops or on select with the event organizer everywhere. Same thing is happening with our data now. Now, can we get into a kind of logical layer where we say, okay, fine, I'm not replicating the data. I'm not creating replica of the data, and I'm trying to get a good, usage of my existing investments. So this is what Denodo do. This is what we are into, So what we do is we offer a simplified, a unified platform where you can access the business trusted data to be consumed by any of your users in real time or in near real time. You don't have to really wait for those extraction times, the batch replication and all. So it could be and what it also comes along with is, these pillars, when you get a logical data abstraction. What is done is, all these your data types, I think we have listed almost all of the data types. What we do is we capture the snapshot, we capture the metadata out here. It's a kind of semantic that we capture. And then we got a very strong governance layer. You already would have invested in your security and your access rules within your organization on who has access to what data and all types. The same principles we apply over here. We apply the same principles on the unified security and governance over here. When you say, okay, fine, Anuj has access to this data set, this kind of a row or this table, this data type, I don't want him to see. For example, it's a customer ID, customer field. I don't want him to see. Now, what is happening is, the source could be anything. Source could be your existing data warehouse also. It could be your new sources that you are adding in. Suppose you are adding in, streaming data or IoT, for example. Now, this is not part of your existing data warehouse, but you have got, your 4 applications already dumping your data into a data lake or a data warehouse. So Denodo can sit on top of it in between your consumer and your source system, connect to them. We are not capturing, we're not making a replica, we're not storing anything over there. We're just having your metadata being stored in Apache Derby database. That's it. It's a very lightweight stuff. This can be deployed on-premise within your private cloud, or it can be with any of the leading hyperscalers. AI ML recommendations. So what we do also, it does is it will create a data catalog for you. As an organization, you might have already invested in a data catalog or MDM kind of an approach. We can complement it. So it will have, suppose, a user from, a kind of chief business officer. Now, if they want to have some reporting, and they say, okay, fine, the moment they come into it, based on the pattern, it will have, AI ML is a kind of inbuilt into each of our business processes these days. So it will just give a kind of catalog, the way, you go to the Amazon site and say, okay, fine, these are available based on your shopping experience, what else people within your profile, within the organization are looking for. That capability will be there. Smart query acceleration is pretty good. This is where, the user out here, it could be anything. It could be your, any of your, for example, your data science team, which typically spend 60% time in, finding the data and then curating the data. Or any of your API-based applications or microservice application or your power users. Now you want to connect, as a user you want to have something which is not available in your canned report, which is already there as one of the data mart or cube which was available from your data warehouse. Now you want to connect some of the sources. I would encourage you to visit our booth, have a chat with a couple of my colleagues. We can actually show the demo out there, how easy it is. So right from your connect, combine to consume, you can do it with low code or no code. You don't have to write a single code over there. It's all GUI based. It's pretty intuitive. You can have it, say, you can we are done with those kind of joins and the aggregation kind of methodologies. It's quite intuitive. It will help us over there. So whatever our report timing typically to change a ETL per se today would take say like weeks. Maybe you can do it in hours over here using this tool. And what we are doing is we are not adding any overhead over here. For suppose any of your analytic tool, typically if you fire a report, you aggregate those tables, it will again go hit the source and maybe take the entire data over here. So suppose if you were to get into an example of you want to see a kind of sales view, or maybe select of any of the, say like a medical company, medical equipment company, for example. They want to say, okay, fine, what are my select dealers, or what are my retailers' IDs, which retailer are doing in select two states, and what are my select top select 3 products, how they're behaving on. At the same time, they also want to add a field of a kind of competition coming in with some of their select scheme launch, what is that impact? So if they want to do that, we are not going to get the entire data out there. So yes, all your select records for your retailers in select 2 states, only those will be picked up. So maybe if in a conventional way, if your query was to fetch say like arguments like select 10,000 records, basis this the smart query aggregation acceleration, we will only pick up the relevant stuff because we already have got the blueprint. We have the metadata already over there. We even have got the primary keys of your tables, right? So basis that, we'll only pick up, say suppose your relevance is only select 5,000 records or say 500 records. We'll only pick the 500 records. So your performance of your source system is going to increase, right? And then you can have the joins at your will, the way you want. This is what I explained, so we have got some, as many as now, more than 215 plus native adapters. It supports all of your data types, you name it, right? Including your select Kafka streams, for example. We got those wrappers or listeners as well. Your IoT streaming, your SaaS applications, any of your ERP systems. It could be your big data, you name it, everything comes in. And what we are capturing here is, we only are capturing your metadata out here. This is a semantic layer that we do. And on top of it, if I go, query optimization I spoke about, recommendations are again like AI/ML based, I won't get into it. Hybrid and cloud approach is as far as your deployment is concerned. If you've got some data like for example in a banking domain or in like oil and gas or any of the where you have got a PI data you don't want to expose to the public cloud, yes, you already have the systems on-prem, we can do that. Self-service, pretty much self-service because you have got, it also gives a data catalog, as I mentioned. So this is for the actual business users. And security governance is that now whatever rules and policies you already have, you apply at this layer. So it could be on the data type, on the role based, on what fields, everything, So, and what all your existing authentication methods are, LDAP, AD, single sign-on, everything gets consumed over here. So there's no investment, additional investment from you on this. So what we give on the consumption layer, we have shown as a data catalog, and then there is a data as a service, which could be for RESTful or like whatever, even the graph. These days, like graph databases are quite popular, where you want to have a relational select mapping. So even those can also come in as a kind of source. And you use any of your visualization tools. So we are not into the visualizations layer. We are not into selling any kind of select compute or storage or databases. No, this is the space we are into. You're pretty lightweight stuff. We only need some some cores, and every VM typically will require 32 GB of RAM because we are not storing any data. We are not keeping any replica over here. What's the worst about data virtualization? As many of us have already gone through that. Now organizations are approaching the concept of data mesh, wherein like the respective consuming department, they themselves will publish your data products, and that is being published for all the others of the organization or even cross organizations to use it. If we talk about architecture, yes, then it's a data fabric architecture, which is also there. So data virtualization plays a very key role in that architecture as well. This is something I picked up from Forrester. It's a bit dated one, 2021. That's pretty, select pertinent, like the value of, the real value is when we deliver is what we deliver on time, If there's some reporting or some sort of analytics is to be done as of now, and if it is being, like we're taking say like weeks to deliver that, then it's of no use. That substance of that question actually changes, By the time we will have those ETL changes done, those data marts rewritten by my select service provider or by my own IT team, things would have moved on. My competition would have actually done select 2 more changes to it. Some of the key differentiators, where we stand out. So this is, I think I covered most of that. So we have got, so what we are talking is, we are collecting from as many of sources as you have. You are having then a central place where you are having a central governance, a central management of your database, where we are coming of your data, where we are coming of the data management part, and then we are delivering it as required by the organization. Security is, is pretty much there. Whatever your tools are there, it already goes in. We also, this particular stuff also has got some of the salient features which I didn't talk about is like redaction, or I'll say the data masking part. Encryption goes by default in all the solutions at rest or in motion. Redaction is something, or data masking is something you can mask some of the fields within your underlying the kind of data sources when you're bringing it into a Denodo layer. Query optimization is pretty cool one. We also have got now massive parallel processing piece also built into our engine, that's MPP engine. So we have got some very large data volumes where you are trying to select several, quite a few, many terabytes of data. That is where MPP thing will also come up, and it's also like automated. You don't need to, a programmer or a person, doing this operation doesn't need to really pick the query, whether it's a normal one or it goes the MPP one. The platform picks it on its own. Decoupling is, so that's a premise. So we have decoupled the source and the consumer altogether. So you don't, as a user, you are not worried where my data is. We even have select use cases where my customers are moving from 1 or 2 data warehouses to a data lake. Or there are customers who have moved from a service provider A, who had built their large capacity on-prem onto a hyperscaler, or moving from hyperscaler A to hyperscaler B. So what they have done is the Denodo platform is connected on both the locations, on both the part, the 2B and the existing one, and it copies the data. It moves the data, and whenever whatever the changes are happening at your source, then it captures a summary view and then it applies it over there. That metadata gets applied. That's also a use case. Use cases are many. This is something again, it came from the analysts only in terms of the in terms of ROI and all, because we can do a detailed discussion on this. We do have like various fields to capture in terms of what is your cost, what is the effort goes in terms of managing your existing stuff. Like one of my client is having a legacy. I won't name the kind of technology company. So they've got, as per the licensing, they have to source all the source cores are already licensed. Now they are putting everything into those sources into one data warehouse. So they have to have some sort of like a license for your like Golden Gate kind of a stuff or some CDC kind of a tool. So you need to have a core-based pricing on that. Now Target also is licensed. Again, you have to be compliant on that. So you are having multiple sources. And then there's an ETL tool also. So when you're going in for expansion, we are not saying we are replacing all this. We are complementing it. But yes, when you're going for the kind of data modernization, why not like limit those, whatever you have, extract the full life, live the life, have your entire ROI, and then Denodo platform can actually take over. Again, the benefits of the choices that we are, the primary use cases, as we discussed in last so like 15 odd minutes. So it's everywhere like you are, you have to focus on new business, new revenue models, whether it's the overall operational efficiency, cost, or the risk mitigation, regulatory compliance. Like on the regulation part, I'll say GDPR is one kicker. Our business grew 10x since like the GDPR came in picture. That is where like you have like your ID being used by whom and by select and how many times. That entire data lineage we can have, we can track that. That's all from my side. I'm good. Was able to finish it in my stipulated time. Please drop in at our booth. We have a couple of technical resources already aligned, and you can have all your questions. You want to see some demo, see, I mean, how this, the GUI-based low code or no code, I mean, stuff that I spoke about, how you can change those plans, those queries on the fly. And that really, I mean, give you the agility and the speed, like to, for your business requirements. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.